So we'll do our introductions really quickly in case you don't know who we are. So Buju, Niganigawik Indigo, Mushkos Dotem, Manitubwitagong Dongji, Chris Kopanes Dijnikaz, Anishinaabemowin Gawich Tud Coordinator, Donald Keewan, Yintam Shannon.
Uju, Wawate Kishukok Indigo, Nigigninder Nundotem, Ning Simanakaning Nindonji. I'm really excited to see some names here that I don't recognize and also some names that I do recognize. So Buju.
Então, a English Kimia, Wapskam Constantinikas, Bridget Niganagane, Do Jagnashi Noswin, Wickham Kong Dom Jaba, Fort Francis Megwan Linda, the Anishinaabemowin assistant at 7 Gens, and Kitchenendam Kina Wabmaguk Nungum. Happy to see you all today.
So this is 3 members of our team. We also have 4 other members. 3 of them are first speaker translators that work with us on a daily basis. So they work to help us translate all of our materials as well as other things that are needed for programs in the community. And we also have a full-time illustrator who does all of our awesome drawings for our books and our resources. Okay, so we will get going. So if you were able to tune in on our last session, we talked about why language revitalization is so important for ourselves and for the students that we work with. We talked about language anxiety and what that can look like as it manifests throughout your learning, how to overcome those, how to address our fears. Some of us set goals that we could work on while we're at home during this time. And we strategize to overcome obstacles that might stand in the way of those goals. And we talked about making offerings to Aginjibakwesi for language learning. So if you were with us last time, that was a really good discussion. A lot of people shared other things that they do as well. So that was nice to hear how other people take care of the language and take care of their own learning. So today we're going to focus on sounds in the language. So looking at how the language is pronounced based on the double vowel system. This is specific to our area, so it might be a little different where you're from. So the best thing that we can offer is to tell you, if you're not sure if it's pronounced the same in your area, to go and ask a language speaker that you might know from your community or from your area in general. Ikdonan is words, so we're going to be looking at different types of nouns and how to change a noun in different ways to make it, or to use it in sentences. And then we're going to look at VII, which is a type of verb. And then at the very end, we have feedback questions again. Okay, so we'll get started with Ga Inweng, which is the Anishinaabemowin alphabet. So you will notice that our alphabet is a little bit different than the English alphabet, right? So we have a handout that's on the website as well. And I'll pull that up so you can see it. Maybe. There we go. So this handout is available on the website. And you can print as many copies. It's there for you to use as often as you want, or to edit based on where you're from. So Ojibwe is most often spelt with the double vowel system. We have 7 vowels and 17 consonants, and then a glottal stop. So that makes up the whole alphabet. And you'll notice that the double A and the double O and the double I are together and they're separate from the single vowels. And this means that a double A or a double O or a double I is considered a letter all on its own. And it's same thing with the consonant clusters CH, SH, and ZH. Those are considered letters, as well as the glottal stop. It's considered a letter. Okay, so we use all of those very often, so it's important to recognize that our spelling is different than the way things are spelled in English. So sometimes it's easier to understand the double vowel sounds when they're compared to something in English. So as I'm going through this, I'm going to encourage you guys, wherever you're sitting, to try and repeat after me. Even if you don't have your mic on, you can turn it on if you want, but you can repeat after me as I'm saying things. I'll leave time for you to do so. Okay, so a short A in Anishinaabemowin sounds like a U sound in English. So and like about, So agim, namatabe, washkizigun. So you can hear that sound. It's very different than you would say it in English. Okay, and then a double A is considered a long A. So agim or maja, like father. So the A in father is a long A. Okay. And then the E is actually a long vowel, okay, but it's just a single letter. So amikwan is a spoon. It makes an A sound like cafe, AY, which is why you'll see sometimes people spelling Ojibwe with an AY versus an E. It's the same sound. So amikwan, Wainin, or Anishinaabe. A short I, like inine, inine. So it's very short, like the I in kin, or moe. So it's a very short sound. A double I makes a E sound, like seen. Okay, so for example, neen or googie. Now, O's are a little different. There's usually kind of two ways that they're emphasized. And as a learner, you're just trying to figure it out as you go. You're not really quite sure all the time. A lot of times I hear a fluent speaker say it and then I'll know which one it is. So it could either sound like the O in obey or like the O in book. So there's ozid, anoki, or nibo. So they have slightly different sounds, but they're not super noticeable. And as you go and as you learn and you learn how to put an accent on that, you're going to start to understand how to pronounce words. And it's different in many communities. So if you're not sure, ask somebody from your community how they would say it. And then the long O, the double O, can also sound two different ways. So it can either sound like the O in boat, or it can sound like the O in boot. So Odena, Anuki, Goon, or Bamipitu. So there's slight differences. If you're not somebody who hears a lot of Anishinaabemowin, you might not quite hear the difference, but it is there. Okay, so and those things just come with practice. So the more that you practice, the better you're going to get at it. Okay, so some of you might be familiar with the sound chart. I think almost every Anishinaabemowin classroom ever has had one of these. This is our one that we've made for our materials. It's the same as everybody else's. We've just changed the font, that's about it. So this is also available as a handout on our website. If you needed one, you could print it out there. And one way to use this that we've come to find that kids really love is through a song. Now this song is not from our territory. This is from Southern Ontario, but we will play it for you so you can hear it. Hopefully it's loud enough. Can you hear that?
Cha chi cho che cha chi cho da di do de da de do ga gi go ge ga ge go ja ji jo je ja je jo ka ki ko ke ka ke ko ma mi mo me ma me mo Nani no ne na ne no pa pi po pe pa pe po sa si so se sa se so sha shi sho she sha shi sho ta ti to te ta te to wa we wo we wa we wo ya yo ye ya ye yo za zi zo ze za ze zo sha shi sho she sha shi sho a I o o ni we ne ke en ta go.
So that video can be found on YouTube under Anishinaabemowin alphabet, I believe. And we can put the link in the chat too after. So that video, we show this whenever we do family nights, and the kids love it. And a lot of the adults say too that it really helps them get the sounds into their head, just helping them start to understand how things are pronounced. So the other thing that Anishinaabemowin has is what we call consonant clusters. So these consonant clusters exist, and they can often make learners really hesitant when they're trying to decide how it should be pronounced. So I've given some examples. So the GW consonant cluster, like memengwa, you guys could say that, memengwa. Or the KW consonant cluster, like mukwa, mukwa. The ND consonant cluster, ondig, ondig. The NG, mong, mong. The NJ, like nininj, nininj. And the SHK, like nishke. And this is one that a lot of people have struggled with. I hear a lot of learners when they're starting, that's the one that they have a hard time with. And I say I'm always thankful for this guy for teaching us all how to say. So I think when Wabagut came out and started saying shke, 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 everyone started learning how to say that sound, which is really helpful for every language learner I know. So those are the consonant clusters. Okay, so we have this game that we play usually when we're all together in a group in person. It's a lot easier, but we are going to demo it for you between the three of us. And then if somebody's feeling brave, maybe they'll want to volunteer to try and do it themselves. So what we do is we take an English sentence and we try to spell it using this chart instead of using the English spelling. It's still an English sentence, but you have to spell it as it would look in the double vowel system. So that's how that sentence would look in the double vowel system. And it's still pretty much pronounced the same. Okay? So when we play the game, you have to remember that you can't use these consonants by themselves because they do not exist in the Anishinaabemowin alphabet, in this double vowel system that we've started using. So what I've done is I've ahead of time given Shannon a sentence in English, and she has written it out in the double vowel system. And Bridget is going to try and guess what it is. Okay, so I'm going to unmute you two. Maybe I can get it to work. There we go.
So do you want me to write it in the group chat?
No, you can. Did you write it out on paper?
Oh, I wrote it really sloppily.
You can write it in the chat if you want.
Okay.
So Shannon's going to write it in the chat. If you don't have your chat open, scroll down to the bar down here, and there's a chat button. And then Bridget's going to try and guess what it says.
Good luck.
We are skating later. We are skating later.
Yeah, skating later. So you can see Shannon took this sentence and wrote it out in double vowel. So I don't know if anybody's feeling brave enough that they'd like to try. Anyway. You can either raise your hand or just unmute your mic and say me, me, me. Or neen, 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 I should say. Nobody's feeling brave today? All right. So when we play that game, usually we have people in pairs. So we'll separate our whole group into pairs, and we'll give each pair a green paper with the English sentence, and then they have to rewrite it in the double vowel system on white paper. And then we put them all in a bowl, and all the other pairs have to pick somebody else's and guess what it says. And then sometimes they're really hard and people struggle with them, but most of the time they can get them pretty well. All right, last chance. Anybody want to try?
Sure, I just don't know where.
Donis?
Yep.
Okay.
Bonjour.
So, do you have your chat screen open?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so I'm going to private message you a sentence in English.
Okay.
And then you're going to try and rewrite it out for everybody in the double vowel. So you can either write it on a piece of paper and show us, or you can type it into the chat for everyone.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. So I'll send this just to you. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So while Donis does that, again, like people really like doing this game. It gets people laughing and having fun. We like to do this in a large group. Obviously, it's a little harder in this format, but it's a fun game. And you can see people calling each other out like, oh, you're not supposed to use an F by itself. You can't do that. So if they do it wrong, they're calling each other out and they're learning in that way as well. So it's a really good activity to learn spelling in the language. Right. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add, Shannon or Bridget, about that one. Okay, so Donis has got it. I'm gonna send it to everyone. So in the chat, you can see her translation there. Can anyone guess what that says? You don't have to do it on chat. You can type it if you don't want to like come on with your voice. So you're trying to sound it out. Good job, Carly.
Ooh.
You got it.
That was hard. There are sounds. There's so many sounds that aren't in double vowel.
Yeah, it gets kind of hard, right? And then you're just trying to get.
But it's good.
Oh, somebody else has a new one there. Can we see what that says? Yep, that's what I got too. Mike's birthday is next week. Is that you, Mike Jones? Just on the next, you got to watch because you can't use an X by itself. So how would you write next using the double vowel system?
No R either.
Oh, yeah, I missed that one too. Calling you out, Mike Jones. An X, you could use a KS. Yep, that would work. So like, I wouldn't use an E there, right? Because it's not an E sound, an AY sound, maybe like that. So it's kind of fun just to try and figure out how you would write it, right? And it's a good exercise for learning how the sounds work in the language and how you can change things. It also kind of makes you realize why first language speakers say things the way they do in English and how their accent is. It's not a res accent, it's an accent based on their first language. Right. Good job with that. That was fun. So that's something you can use. We have that on the website if you want to play it with anybody. We actually got this idea from, what's the name of that book, Shannon? Yes, that book. So the Anishinaabemowin book has a bunch of examples in there that you can use. We use them in one of our activities as well. So that's a good resource. But there's like, I think like 20 questions in there or 20 types that you can practice with. So that's a game you can use. All right. So up next, talking about Anishinaabemowin words or Ikdowanan. So Anishinaabemowin words can be divided into 6 categories, which also have multiple subcategories. So nouns, pronouns, verbs, adverbs, preverbs, and particles. We do have this handout on our website so that you can look it over. It's honestly, it's a lot. We don't expect you to learn it just so that you can participate in these. It's more of like a curiosity thing, or if you're interested in learning about that, it does help as a learner to understand how things separate sometimes or how things are categorized, but you don't have to know it. So we just put that up there for curiosity's sake. So when you're learning the language, usually maybe in like elementary school or middle school, you're learning it as a second language in a classroom. A lot of times, all you're learning are third-person verbs and singular nouns. Historically, that's what I learned in elementary school. It was a lot of third-person verbs like numaktabe, right? Bimose had the nice little verbo cards that everyone used to have. Some people still use those. I don't have any personally, which I would like to have them just because they're like a part of our history as language learners. But you've seen those, and then you would see like flashcards with singular nouns on them, like oh moose, or something like that. It would those were the most common things that you would learn. Okay, so what we want is for people to move beyond that third person verb and singular noun learning, right? We want them to be able to put sentences together, and we want them to be able to conjugate things so that they take on new meaning and they can start to build those relationships within the language, which are so important. So we'll start with nouns. There are 2 different types of nouns in the language. So there's animate nouns and inanimate nouns. Now, there's a lot of controversy over the use of the words animate and inanimate. They do not mean alive and not alive. Okay? They don't mean that. it's a dichotomy that's used by linguists to identify different categories of things. Okay, it doesn't need to be the same animate, inanimate. It's not dead or alive. You can either do singular or plural in animate nouns or inanimate nouns. Okay, so animate nouns here can either be singular or plural. So for example, an animate noun that is singular is ikwe, okay? One woman, ikwe. To make it plural, right, ikwewog. Okay, so animate and inanimate, we're not sure why things were assigned the way they were, right? Back when people first started speaking the language, for some reason they chose to do things a certain way. I'm sure there was a reason for it, but it's not something that we know, okay? If you ask people why, if you ask your teacher why is that animate? Why is this inanimate? They might give you a theory, but most of the time they're like, that's just the way it is, and you just learn it. And you start to, as a learner, you start to just learn it and understand it and remember it, okay? You could spend a lot of time being, why is it like that? But honestly, I think you're better off to spend that time just learning them and then learning how to use them. Okay, so animate noun, singular, plural, ikwe, ikwewog. Plural forms vary depending on the word. So you could either have, like say the word moose, for example, you would say muzug for plural, but you wouldn't say muzwug. That just sounds funny, right? So there's different ways of pluralizing, and that's also something you learn as you go. There's a lot to learn as you go, but that's just one thing that you gotta do as a language learner. And it's the same for inanimate nouns. So they can either be singular or plural. So one box, makak, okay? Or more than one box, makakun, makakun, okay? And it's the same thing for plurals here. You wouldn't say makakan, that sounds weird. It's makakun, right? So when you are working with a fluent speaker, sometimes you ask them, well, is that animate or inanimate? And they're like, I don't know, right? They're like, I don't know how to tell you if that's animate or inanimate. That just might not be something that they know how to tell you. So one of the easy ways to get them to teach you it is to ask them to, how would you say more than one woman? Okay, and if they say ikwewug, you know because of that G on the end that it's animate. Okay, if they said, okay, you wouldn't say this, but if they said ikwe1, you would know it was inanimate because of the N on the end. Right, so we have the G's and the N's on those pluralizations. If something ends in an N when it's plural, it's inanimate. Something ends in a G when it's plural, it's animate. Okay. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot, but you can always come back and revisit it. Okay. Another thing that you can do with nouns is to make them small or diminutive. Okay, so you can take a noun and turn it into a small noun. So zaga igan, a lake. Zaga igans, a small lake. So you're just making it smaller by adding an ending, by adding a new suffix. Okay, so in this case, the suffix is ans. Okay, aunts. For a box, makak, makakuns. Okay, a small box. Nikana, a road. Nikananes, a small road. Some words already have diminutives built in. For example, like a bear cub is makuns, and a puppy is anmushens. So it's already built in. So one easy way to figure out what the diminutive is to look on the Ojibwe People's Dictionary. So I typed in lake. Can you guys see that? The dictionary? Yep. Okay. And I would scroll down here and I would look for this, dim, which stands for diminutive. And this would then be Zaga Igans, a small lake. Okay. And almost every noun in the dictionary has this on it. So it's a really handy tool to use if you're not sure which ending you would use. If you use the ens, uns, or es. Okay, so there's 3 different ones. If you can't figure out which one it is, you can use the dictionary to help you out there. Another thing that you can do with nouns is turn them into locations. And these are called locatives. So, Zaga Igan, a lake. Zaga Iganing means at, in, or on the lake. Okay, so you have to figure out the context, right? So what are you doing at the lake? So that would denote whether you're at, in, or on the lake, right? So if you're saying I'm swimming in the lake versus we're boating on the lake, it's different, right? But that context comes then from the verb, and that's where the relationships start in the language. Okay, same with box, makak, makakung, makakong, mikana, mikanong. So that changes those into locations. Again, on the Ojibwe People's Dictionary, you can look for this LOC, which means the locative, and then you can look for the locative word, Zaga Iganing. Okay. You'll see a note up here actually on this one that some people use a double I and some people use a single I on the end. It just depends where you are from. Okay. All right. So that's nouns. I don't know if anybody wants to ask any questions about that. I don't see any hands raised or anything, so we must be doing all right. Okay, so the big part of the language is the verbs. Okay, that's where you're going to really start putting things together. So there are 4 types of verbs in Anishinaabemowin, and then within those verb types there are probably a million different ways to conjugate them, and we're going to focus on just a few of them to help you get started. So the different types of verb forms, I'm going to use a word that's familiar. So misqua, which means it is red, is a familiar word, right? Everybody knows misqua is red. Okay? So when it's in VII form, misqua, it is red. That's all it is. Okay? It's not affecting anybody else or doing anything. It's red, it just is. It's not bothering anyone or anything like that, okay? So then when you go to VAIs, this is an animate subject, okay? So miskoze, she or he is red. Okay, she or he is red. So it's again not affecting anyone else, it's just the one person. So she or he is red, miskoze. Then you go to VTIs, and this is where things start changing and affecting other things and people. So VTI, misquadison, means dye it red. Okay, she or he dyes it red, misquadison. So this is a subject affecting an object, an inanimate object. Okay, so she or he, say a person, is dyeing something inanimate red. So like a box is inanimate. So you're dyeing the box red, misquadison. Okay. And then VTAs, this is an animate subject affecting an animate object. Okay. So misquadis, she or he dyes him or her red. So misquadis would be like one person dyeing something animate red. So a piece of bread, right? We're going to dye this bread red. I don't know if anybody would do that, but that's an example, okay? Because bread is animate. So those are the 4 verb types. And today we're focusing on VII. Okay? So VIIs are types of verbs that describe a state of being. They can relate to an object or an abstract notion. So some examples are gakaka, zogipun, and ozawa. So gakaka, it is square. Zogipun, it is snowing. Ozawa, it is yellow. So these are VII type verbs. So they're not affecting anyone. They're not changing any state of being. It's just something that is either happening or is existing. Okay. So we use these conjugation charts as learners to help us start to understand how things can change in order to take on new meaning, how verbs can change to take on new meaning. So this is an A form conjugation chart. So these, we're sticking with the basics. We're not doing B forms. Okay, we're not doing C forms. We're just sticking with A form. Okay, so doing basic sentences. If I took the word, okay, wait, I'm backtrack a little. So in VIIs can either end with a vowel, an N, or a D. Okay, so if the verb ends in a vowel, like misqua ends in a double A, right? Misqua, singular, misqua, it is red. One thing is red. And then if I wanted to say it's not red, gawin misqua sanun. Okay, gawin misqua sanun. Maybe it's yellow, right? It's not red, gawin misqua sanun. If I wanted to say they are red, misquawan. Misquawan. Okay, they are red. If I want to say they are not red, gawin misqua sanunin. So we might not use the negative ones as often as we would use the positive ones, right? So you might not say gawin misqua sanun, you might just say ozawa. It's yellow, it's not red, right? So it just depends on what kind of speaker you are or what kind of speaker you're working with. And then if the verb ends in an N, like agasin, which means it is small, okay, agasin, it is small. Gawin agasin zanun, it is not small. Agasinun, they are small. Gawin agasin zanunin, they are not small. Okay, so you can see that you just take the verb, and you plug it into the blank line. It's almost like building blocks. You're just building it in, filling in the line, and then making a sentence. So if your verb ends in a D, singular positive, miswamagut, it is red. Gawin miswamagasanun, it is not red. And you'll notice that the D dropped off the end of that word, and then we just plugged sanun. Okay, so you can see that asterisk there at the end of the conjugation. Miswamagadun, they are red. Gawin miswamagasanunin, they are not red. Okay, so those are some examples of how it works. This chart's available on our website as well as in a handout form. It's a little more printer friendly, doesn't have so much ink on it. And then we also have these conjugation pieces. Okay, so these conjugation pieces allow you to print, and then you cut them apart and you make sentences with them. Okay, so it's just a little activity that you can do. So these are available to print on our website. We have some for every verb form, and then you could add and put in B forms and stuff like that if you know those. Or you can download a copy of our brand new Smart Notebook document, which I'm going to show you. So this document allows you to clone, put this full screen. Okay, allows you to clone the words. So if I was looking for the sentence, they are small, how would we say that? Which pieces would I need? You guys can unmute your mics if you got an answer. Which pieces would I need?
Gaussian.
Gaussian, okay. And what is a Gaussian? That is. Okay, so a Gaussian means it is small. So how do I get that they? How do I make it plural?
Grab that oon in the upper right.
Okay, so then you plug that on there. Gaussian. And then you could, when I used to teach high school, I used to do this with my kids and I would get them to rewrite it so that they could see how it looks as a sentence. Gaussian. Okay, so then that means they are small. And these are infinite cloners, so you can just keep grabbing them and they'll just keep going. So you could put more sentences underneath as well, but I just did, whoops. Apparently I already answered that one. Okay, so the next one is, they are not yellow. What would that look like? Which pieces do I need? Who wants to volunteer this time?
You need Gawin,
Colleen?
Ozawa 1,
Zawa?
one, oh, you need the ending. Hang on. Ozawa 1, Sinun. Sinunin.
This one?
No. I lost it.
You're close, you're close. Okay, so you don't need the positive ending, right? You just need the negative ending.
There we go.
There you go. So
Got
Gawin,
Ozawa Sinunin.
Gawin, Ozawa, Sinunin. Okay, they are not yellow. All right, how about the next one? It is square.
Gagaka.
Ka. Where is it? Here it is. That's it. That's a sentence in itself. That's the cool thing about Anishinaabemowin. You can have one word and that's a sentence, or you can have a word that's this long and that's a sentence, right? So it's just kind of learning as we go. All right, last one. It is not red, it is yellow. Who wants to try that one?
Well, I guess. Okay, it is not red. I guess Gawin.
Colleen?
I can't put that right. Okay.
No, I'll click for you.
Miss Kwamagut.
Oh my god.
And then Sinoon. Sinoon.
And you have to cover that D up.
And then Ozawa.
So when we retype it, and like if you're a fluent speaker, they might throw in something that's emphatic in there, but I didn't put those in the little conjugation pieces, so we don't have those. But if you were to make your own set and want to add on to this, you could put anything in there that you like, right? Okay, so this smart notebook document is available online on our website now. I just put it up there today, so you can use that however you want. You have to download the Smart Notebook software. which is free for, it's like a limited experience kind of thing. It's not like a trial, but you can only do certain things. But you can download that for free. Okay. And you can do as many of those as you want. So when we're together as a group, we have sets that we've actually printed out, laminated, and cut so that they last, and we work with them in our groups. It usually gets a little competitive, so it's kind of fun. People like to get it done before other people. So you can download those off our website as well if you want a physical copy. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is play Kahoot. And I don't know if everybody has played Kahoot. Usually we end up playing it with our kids and we don't get to actually have fun doing it. So we can, what I'm going to get you to do is either on your phones or on your computer, you can go to kahoot.it. Okay. So if I pull it up on my phone and show you guys. So I usually just type it into Google and it comes up. There's also an app that you can download. So you'll get a screen that looks, well, sorry, it's backwards. It looks like this. And you're going to enter the PIN, which I'm going to put up for you now. And this is a really fun free app too that you can use with your students if you haven't used it before. So this is the PIN here. Okay. So you can enter the game PIN on your phone or device. What do we got here? 2934241. Enter, it will ask you for a nickname. Okay, everyone's got it. I'm going to exit because I'm not going to play. I'm going to focus on hosting it. It's always fun trying to play this with my old high school kids because they would put in inappropriate names sometimes. You'd have to monitor it and cross them off. All right, everybody's crowded on it. You see we have 29 people in our group today. So I'll just wait a minute. And then those who want to jump on can. Okay, so we got 20 people. I don't know if anyone else is trying to get on. Numbers keep changing. Okay, so I'm going to put the Kahoot number in the chat in case you need it. And we're going to get started. I'll put the pin in the chat in case you get the boot. Sometimes that happens. And we're going to click start. You guys ready? So this is all VII focused. Yeah, all the questions. All right, so there's 6 questions. Everybody see it? So translate, it is yellow. All right, so 13 people got it right and 5 people just missed it. Okay. So next question. Oh, you can see the leaderboard. So it tracks points based on how fast you answer and if you got it right or not. Okay. So this is a true or false question. Kakakawan. All right. So this was the picture, right? Kakakawan, kakakawan. Are they square? Bowing. So it's false. Oh,
I don't see what's on your board.
You can't see my screen?
Yeah, like I can see your screen, but I can't see it on my sign-in. I can't see the question.
You can just see where you can click the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it works. So like if I was playing, I would just see like those 4 colors, and you got to match whatever is on the screen, on the big screen, technically. Usually you would be standing at the front of a classroom and you'd have like the smart board going or something.
Okay.
And the kids would be trying to click the right.
Okay. Yeah, because it's flipping through the screen, so I can only see one or the other.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Let me see if this one works. So translate Nisquallen. Can you see that?
No, I can only see the answers. And if I flip to do the answers, I can't see the question anymore.
Weird. That's why it's hard to do these online.
It is a little difficult to use Kahoot on your browser while you're on Zoom, trying to find the right.
Better to do it on your phone if you can.
Yeah, trying to find the right view in Zoom while using this. I got it wrong.
All right, so Miss Squallen is they are red. And Ninatig has a streak. So they got 3 questions right in a row. Okay, next one, translate Gawin Sukipan sa Noun. Gawin Sukipan sa Noun. Awesome, almost everyone got that one. Okay, it is not snowing. Gawin Sukipan sa Noun. Oh, got a change in the leaderboard there. Okay, number 5, true or false? Ozawa. True. Okay. So Ozawa can mean yellow or orange and sometimes brown. Depending where you're from, it's going to change. The colors are going to change. So Ozawa, it is yellow. True. Okay, one more question. Oh, still in the lead, Natig. Okay, last question. Translate Gawin Ozawa Sinunin. All right, almost everybody. So Gawin Ozawa Sanunin. So Ozawa it is yellow, right? Ozawa. Sinoon is the negative ending, and then when you add in, that makes it plural. Kaolin Ozawa Sinoonin. They are not yellow. All right, who won? Oh, wow.
Yay, Shannon, second place.
Right. So this is a great tool that you can use in the classroom, or just when you want to have some fun, maybe you could play with your family. It's totally free. And our Kahoots are actually public, so if you want to play our Kahoots, you can use them.
That's great for over internet.
Yeah, it works really well for online.
Is it hard to put new answers, and like, do they have to have pictures?
They don't have to have pictures, but even if you wanted pictures, it's really easy. You just drag and drop them. Let me see if I can actually show you guys really quick. It's up here. So if you go to Kahoot.com, you can sign up.
I do use this game in the classroom, and it's a lot of fun. What I like to do with the kids is get them to make their own, like have an assignment where they have to make their own Kahoot. And if they have a Google account, they can log in with Google. And if they're signing in with a Chromebook, they don't have to log in. It just kind of automatically logs them in if they sign in with Google when they log on to the Chromebooks. So they don't have to remember any additional passwords.
It's very handy.
And I do have a rubric for assessing it if anybody is going to be doing anything like that.
That would be great if you could share that, Mike. Well, we can post it too if you like. So our Kahoots, I think, are here. They just did like a major upgrade on the site, so they changed a lot of stuff. I'm still kind of learning my way around. But we do have Kahoots for the 4 verb forms and then for an introductory game. And what you can do is duplicate it on your own, and you can change it to be however you want it. So you could use it as a template and then build off of it, or you could create a whole new one. And if you get a premium account, I think there's like 2 other types of Kahoots you can make, and they have more options. I know a lot of school boards have the premium accounts, so I bet if you ask your school board, if you work for a school board, they might have it. And it's just, I think they're a lot of fun. The music usually gets the kids going. I know when I used to teach in a classroom, if you didn't have the music on, they weren't playing. You had to have the music on. So that's just another fun way to engage with your students or even with your family. Okay. We can put
I don't know how to put my hand up. I think in the last one there was a hand thing you could put up.
Yeah, in the chat.
I was just wondering, yeah, for Kahoots, can you use like video or audio, or is it just for written?
Mike is nodding yes, so I'm gonna assume yes. I haven't tried that, but if Mike has done it, it must be working.
Yeah, you can add links to YouTube in parts of the questions, or you can even just save a picture onto your desktop and then upload the picture as the background.
Yeah. And for an answer or just for the questions?
The questions and answers can be anything you want.
Okay. Thanks. Check it out.
Awesome. I'll have to try that. I'll try putting some sound and video into one just to check out how it works. So, we just like to play games and get people laughing, and that's a good way to do it online for now. I guess we're already wrapping it up. So, I don't know if anybody.
Just real quick. This is a good thing to have handy. Like, say you're in the classroom and then we have some kids that are, always finished early. I'll just say, okay, why don't you work on your Kahoot game for the rest of the class? Add some more, couple more questions onto your Kahoot game. So it's pretty helpful to keep them busy while, you know, they're still learning at the same time.
Mm. Yeah.
It works on Shannon's kids anyway.
I think it would be good to have it for the inter-age group, family-based settings right now, because everybody's like at home, right? And they have teenagers and little kids, and so getting a lot of the older kids in charge of educating their little kids.
Well, it's perfect for family time too, when everybody's learning something. You can hook it up to your TV and have all the questions on the on your TV, and everybody answering on like a smartphone or any other electronic device type of thing.
Yeah, sorry if I'm diverting it. I'm just really excited about this thing because what we found in teaching at the center is it's really, really difficult to get parent and inter-age children groups working together, and yet that's what we need for the support in the formal programs.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way I've found is to have actually the kids teach the adults. All the kids have to be teachers and the adults have to all be learners.
Exactly.
Or resource people, like call a friend or whatever. But getting little kids teaching adults and getting older kids teaching younger kids is the only thing that I've found that worked without really weird personality stuff.
It's a good way to keep the kids interested too, because you're still using like the technology as a teaching tool too. So, and all the kids are, you know, they're used to using technology, so they want to find different ways to incorporate the technology in their learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a super easy program to, once you get the hang of it, you'll be laughing.
Yeah, it's super easy. I think I edited it in like 10 minutes because we didn't have that many questions, and we're like, we want to make it more interesting for our online group. So I think I added in like 3 or 4 things, and it took me a few minutes. So if you're pretty techie or you're not even that techie, it's pretty easy to do. So that was the last thing. I don't know if anybody has questions about nouns and VIIs right now, but if you do have questions that you want to ask us, you can always message us. You can always email us. If you want to talk on the phone, because that would be easier, we can do that. But we do have a feedback form again. So if you participated last time, we sent you a certificate that just said you were present and participating in our PD session. So we can do that again. I'll put this link in the chat. Oops. I'll put that link in the chat for you guys, and I'll also put it on the Facebook page. If you can't get to it right now, you can go back and do that. So we just ask you, that's also a good way for us to know where people are at or what they might need. And then for our next session, we're going to be talking about VAIs and VTIs next week at the same time. So 1 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll be talking about VAIs and VTIs. So we're just trying to build, if you don't already know, we're trying to build a basic understanding of verb forms so that people can start to make sentences and get moving, building the relationships within the language, because that'll really help. If you're free tomorrow at 10 a.m., we're also having Nancy Jones and Dawn Jones talking about the spring and the season of renewal. So if you want to tune in, there's a link to that on our Facebook page. They're really great to listen to. They'll be talking for about an hour. They speak in Anishinaabemowin first, and then they translate themselves into English. So it's really great for learners and for people who want to hear more language. So if you fill out a feedback form, we will send you a certificate. Again, those are great for your portfolio, or, you know, you're working from home, you can show them and be like, look, I'm doing something, you know, I have my PD certificate. It's good if you need PD hours for your career. So those are all things that we can use in our portfolios for work, whatever. And we'll send you those if you fill out a feedback form. So if you need to get a hold of us, Those are emails there that you can reach out on Facebook. The recording of this session is going to be posted online on our website. So if you can't quite remember something, you can go back and watch it again. Also, all of the materials are online, so if there's something you want to download, like the conjugation pieces or some of the handouts, those are all available. Just before we close it off, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything they need?
No, I think this was really great. I really enjoyed it. And I could see how it would be really useful, especially right now when we're not in actual physical classrooms.
Yeah, it's good for review too. Like if you're a learner and you've been learning for a while, it's good to review.
I find it's really hard to make all the sets like on your own, like laminating it, and then everybody has different ways. So it's like that's really high. It's like a barrier. And then the technology is so like, I don't know, it's not easy to use always. Like I really liked Anki, but because it had so much flexibility, but at the same time, it's really tough to use. Did you have any, when you did the sets where you had the smart board, did you have an answer after so it could be self-correcting? Because that's one of the things for kids in learning English is like having a self-correcting board so that they don't have to be corrected by somebody else.
No, I don't know how to do that actually.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of them for kids. Like what I noticed is that kids, if they're corrected in front of people or even like adults, even me, like being corrected in front of me, it can shut me down for like a week. And it's not even that I don't want the information. It's just, I don't know, it's just whatever. Like you have to have energy to get back going. But when you can self-correct in a group, or you can, figure it out by hearing stuff, or you have the information to do it yourself, you can kind of test yourself, and then it's easier when you make mistakes elsewhere. So they have like these pens, like they'll have a sheet when you're building a word, or those quail things, you build a word and then you have a picture on top and then you have the answer on the back. So you have the picture and then you build a little word with your little letters, or a sentence with your words. And then when you're done, you slide them off and flip it and see if you got the right answer.
Okay. That would be
the physical. I don't know how it would work digitally, but
yeah. There must be a way to do it, I'm sure, on the smart board, because people are so handy with that. I'm sure there's a template out there for how to do that. I haven't seen anything though. I'll have to look into it though. That's a good idea. So if there's no other questions, I see a lot of people are signing off. Miigwech for attending. We're going to be here again Wednesday next week, same time, doing BAIs and BTIs. So hope to see you guys there. Hope everyone enjoyed, and that I'll see each other next week.